we just had our annual meeting at First United Church in Waterloo, and the congregation goes back to 1883. However, today I thought we might take a look at the past, the present, and the future. Well, let's just go back 80 years. And about 80 years ago, behind me here, there was a building that was probably called the church hall. I don't remember very much about it, but there was a net across the open space and people played badminton, but that's where Sunday school and other activities were held. Well, during that time, about 80 years ago, the congregation was growing. There were many children and youth, and so it was decided by people, I think, inspired by God, you might call them visionaries, who decided that we needed a better facility. And so that's when the complex of Hilliard Hall, the chapel, the parlor, and the labyrinth room were constructed. Well, very soon, people discovered what a wonderful place they had now, with many opportunities. And the minister at the time, Art Craig, and his wife Florence, decided that youth needed to do something on Friday nights, so they had dances for youth, many Friday nights. And these dances were enjoyed by all. And Art and Florence were the chaperones, the main ones, but they had other people in the congregation, other couples who also helped. The scouts were already using the space and had a storage room behind the stage. And so two women in the congregation, Ma Totten and probably Alice Bullard, decided there should be an activity for girls. And that's when CGIT began, with a few girls and one or two leaders, which eventually grew to 100 girls and 10 leaders. And some of those girls, and even one of those leaders, is still in the congregation. Well, there were many children, and some people saw that some of these children, although they were the right age to go to kindergarten, were not yet ready. And this predates the time of junior kindergarten. So in what is now the labyrinth room, it was established the first step, pre-kindergarten. And that program went on for about 20 years. Some of the children were, of course, children of members in the congregation, but anyone was welcome. And Jean Rotz and a group of wonderful volunteers had that program. Well, let's skip to more recent past. And one of the opportunities the congregation had was after church to have conversations that matter. And three of our people, Lynn Blake Dickson, Joan Westcott, and Mary Joan Brooker, were instrumental in introducing that program, which we still use today. Well, think of the people who were inspired this past Christmas. Just think about the wonderful Christmas carol service coordinated by Lee Willingham and Kathleen King Martin. Or think of the Christmas potluck party promoted by Edith and the UCW. And then think of the new program promoted by Hohen, where people came on Christmas Day for a potluck. And then we mustn't forget the holiday meal, which has been going on in this church for many years. First started by Kathy and Mike Savage. Well, so many good things have happened, inspired by God and leading many visionaries to promote such good things. However, we've also missed some opportunities along the way. We had a visioning committee, maybe about 10 years ago, and they gave part of their report, but the board said, we'll continue, but that never happened. We had a committee that was looking at a new form of governance. They presented quite a good plan, but it needed some work, and all of a sudden it got dropped. And then just before the pandemic, we had a program or a committee set up that was to look at how to make the church more accessible and more inviting. Well, they spent a lot of time looking at where there would be an elevator or a lift. They found where it would go, how much it would cost, and that it would reach 4 levels, the basement, the main floor, the office floor, and also the gallery level. The other part of that committee's work was to make the church more inviting or welcoming. And indeed, there were grants available. They had wonderful ideas about removing those big brown doors off William Street into the sanctuary and putting glass. However, we just didn't get to do that. So here we are in the present. And although we shouldn't dwell on the past, it's good to look back and say, yes, we've done many good things, but some things we didn't pursue. And we wonder why. Were we too busy? Too much work? Or were we afraid to take the next step? So here we are in the present, and we have some serious things to think about. We have to think about our serious financial position. We have to think about how to get leadership. It's sometimes difficult to get people to serve on committees or even the church board. But we may have an opportunity to move ahead. And I remember some years ago we had an interim minister who one Sunday held out a glass of partly filled water and said, "Is the glass half empty or half full?" Well, I believe it's half full, and we can continue to fill it up. And we do have an opportunity with Kindred Works to look at redevelopment of this site, of this property. So, looking to the future, what is your vision? Better still, what is our vision? And more importantly, what is God's vision?